Welcome back everyone. Today we're looking at scary locations you often wouldn't expect to be scary. Bars. They are places where people go to relax, socialise or just have a good time. Well, perhaps ghosts do too. There have been many reported sightings of them in bars over the years. I've taken a look at the very best cases and gathered them here for you today. My name is Danny Burke and this is the top 10 scary bar stories. Alright, just before we get into this I want to say thank you to our sponsor for this video, which is the Dive Bar Shirt Club. They've combined their love of dive bars and t-shirts and have created a t-shirt club for you guys. If you join the club and subscribe to them once a month, you'll get a new t-shirt from the best bars in the US. They celebrate all things weird, unusual and wonderful when it comes to bars across the US. If you know someone in your life who would enjoy that, or even if you yourself will, then give them the gift of a Dive Bar Club subscription. Here's a little sample of what you can expect from their site. This one from Portland says the Twilight Room. This one is from an Irish bar called O'Bannon's that says Irish with an altitude. This one comes from Irvis Basement Bar in Pasadena, Maryland. It says drinking where the sun don't shine. The list goes on and on. You'd be amazed at just how many shirts they have, and to be honest, it's no surprise when you hear that they've been going for almost 10 years now. That's right, the Dive Bar T-shirt club has been the #1 choice for dive bar shirts for almost a decade at this point. It's been many successful years so far, but it's never too late to join the club. So if this sounds like your kind of thing, then head on over to their website, which is the divebarshirtclub.com, to sign up today. You can also find the link in the description box below of this video. Check it out. And for now, let's get right into the video. Coming at number 10 now, we have the Ear Inn. It was constructed in 1770 by James Brown, an African-American Revolutionary War hero. Many years later, it became a popular hangout for sailors. One of them was a man called Mickey. He lived upstairs at the inn, and one day when returning to the inn, he was smashed into by a car and killed instantly. Having not reached his destination, the locals believe his spirit became tied to the inn itself. In the years since then, many who stayed at the inn say they see him wandering the halls of the hotel above. You can even get a tour of the upstairs if you ask them nicely, although do be warned, many people who have done it don't actually recommend it because of just how scary the place is. The downstairs seems to be safe, but even then I wouldn't put it past Mickey to slide up next to you at the bar. Next up at number 9 now, we have Olde Man and Sycthe. This pub in Bolton, England dates back to 1251, making it well over 750 years old. It's always been known as a creepy and haunted place to the locals, but gained international notoriety in 2014 when the landlord claimed one of the many ghostly spectres there was captured on CCTV. Landlord Tony Dooley discovered smashed glass on the floor when he came down to the bar in the morning. Naturally, he went straight to the CCTV to check the tapes. Strangely, he found it had stopped recording at exactly 6:18 AM. He wound it back and there, to his horror, appeared to be the ghost of a man who was executed during the English Civil War in the 17th century. The soldier, thought to be royalist James Stanley, supposedly spent the final few hours of his life staying at the pub before his gruesome execution. He was beheaded in the square right in front of that pub. The chair that he sat waiting for his death in is still inside the building. Perhaps that's to blame for his many sightings over the years. Things are heating up now at number 8 and we have Bobby Mackeys Nightclub. This bar in Kentucky has been open for about 150 years, not as long as many on our list, but still enough time to rack up some pretty scary stories. When it was built in the mid-19th century, locals believed that satanic practices were common there, with animals and even humans being slaughtered on those grounds before the bar was made on a routine basis. Some people even go so far as to say that this bar site is on top of an actual portal to hell itself. They believe that this is the reason why a number of horrific crimes have been committed nearby. The ghost of local girl Pearl Brian is said to haunt the bar. In 1896, she was beheaded by her boyfriend and his roommate in a nearby field after an abortion attempt went horribly wrong. In the 1950s, a dance hall girl called Joanna, who worked at the venue, was pregnant by a young singer. When she made her intentions known to marry the boy, her mobster father arranged to have him killed. Joanna was so distraught that she poisoned her father before taking her own life. Some visitors to the bar have claimed they've seen all three of them, still tied to the place because of the horrific events that happened. Moving on to number 7 now, we have Tiger's Tap Room. This hotel in Tucson, Arizona is just packed with strange strange stories that will give you chills. It probably needs its whole own video. Originally opened in 1919, this bar and the associated Hotel Congress have played host to a number of infamous characters over the years. John Dillinger's gang stayed here, Wyatt Earp shot and killed Frank Stillwell right across the street, ghost hunters clamber for the chance to stay in room 242 where a hotel guest supposedly took her own life with a gun. If you examine the closet closely, you can still see the bullet hole. If you spend the night in that room, many say it's almost certain you will wake up and see her watching you sleep. One man even said he woke up to the sound of his dog barking at the bathroom. When he stepped inside, he found that all of his belongings had been stuffed into the toilet and the bathtub was overflowing with water. Next up, number 6 now, we have Pioneer Saloon. First of all, I think that's an amazing name, I love it, but let's look at why it has such a haunted reputation. It lies about 35 minutes west of Las Vegas, out in the deserts of Nevada, in the little town of Good Springs. In the early 20th century, it was a hub of life with many bustling hotels, shops and apartments. The times moved on though, and so did the people. All that's really left there now is the old Pioneer Saloon. Inside you'll find 3 holes piercing the tin wall. These were apparently made when a drunken miner, cheating at poker, lunged for the card dealer. The dealer quickly drew his gun and shot 3 gunshots that went right through the man and the wall, killing him. In the years since then, many people believe they still hear the bullets punching through the tin wall, or cries of pain that come from the darkness, or simply the quiet shuffling of cards. Locals believe this is all the ghost of the miner, trapped here forever, still wanting to finish his game but always meeting the same end. Moving on to number 5 now, we have the Whitehorse Tavern. This bar claims to be not one of the oldest, but the oldest bar in the United States. It was opened in the Rhode Island colony way back in 1673. Visitors always report an instant sense of dread when they step inside. That's not surprising when you learn that the place wasn't just used as a bar over the years, it was also a British military quarters during the Revolutionary War and a boarding house in the early 20th century. It's seen a lot of people. One of the most famous ghosts that is commonly reported is that of an elderly man who died while renting a room upstairs. They never identified who exactly he was, and that same fate has met his ghost. To this day, nobody knows who exactly he is. Paranormal investigators' first move is always to ask his name, but there's never an answer. Perhaps more scary is the other most reported ghost, that of a small girl, often heard crying on the 2nd level up near the bathrooms. People have also tried to contact her, but perhaps it's best left alone. Moving on to number 4 now, we have the Banshee Labyrinth. Yes, that's a pretty scary name, and that's no accident. This is an example of a bar that was renamed because of how haunted it was. Built in Edinburgh, Scotland, it was originally called the Nicol Edwards Pub. For as long as it's been standing, the nightclub and bar has been situated right above the city's underground vaults. Anyone from Edinburgh will tell you that the vaults have a reputation for being a hub of criminal activity back in the day, a meeting spot for dangerous people, and a place where many have met a grisly end. On top of that, there's also reports that it's been home to creatures from the spirit world. Perhaps the most famous is the Banshee. As some of you guys might already know, a Banshee is a female spirit in Irish mythology known to be an omen of death. If you hear a Banshee's cry, death is not far behind. When the pub was being refurbished a few years ago, a group of workers all heard a terrifying scream. They knew they were totally alone and had no idea who, or rather what, could have made that unearthly noise. A few hours later, one of the workers received a phone call informing him that a family member had passed away. For many people, this was proof that a Banshee has made its way up from the vaults and into this popular Scottish bar. Alright, at number 3 now guys, we have the Menger Bar. This place is often called the most haunted bar in Texas, and for good reason. It's one of the oldest bars in the whole of the US and was home to many soldiers, cattle rustlers and notorious criminals on the run. To say there were a few gunfights here would be a massive understatement. If you know anything about ghosts, then people often say they are caused by violence, anger and obviously death. So it's no surprise that this place is said to be a breeding ground for ghosts. There are not 1, not 2 or 3, but 32 different ghosts that are said to haunt this bar and hotel. One of them is apparently Teddy Roosevelt himself. Yes, Teddy Roosevelt as in the 26th President of the US. Although he is said to be friendly, the same can't always be said for the other 31 ghosts. Visit them at your peril. Next up, number 2 now, we have Lafittes Blacksmith Shop. In many ways, this old building in New Orleans has been lost in the mists of time. It's thought to have been built in 1762 or thereabouts. As the name suggests, it was originally used as a blacksmith shop. But who was Lafette? Well, he was actually a pirate. And people say this whole blacksmith shop was just a front front to hide his illegal activities. It's been many years since then, but some say the energy of the evil goings on here has never left the place. It's now an atmospheric piano bar lit only by candlelight. Many visitors have spotted Lafitte standing around the fireplace where he is said to have stashed all of his pirate gold. He was also a notorious womanizer, and some people say this is the reason that others will see a distraught woman in old-fashioned clothing pacing towards the back of the building before fading into the darkness. And finally, at number 1 now, we have Jamaica Inn. This one is found in the picturesque countryside of Cornwall in England, but don't let that fool you. It was once featured on the Most Haunted program in 2010. The producers of the show claimed it was one of the scariest episodes they had ever made. The owners of the inn claimed to have heard ghostly whispers in the night, not only in English but a number of different languages. They often hear the clip-clop of horse hooves on the cobblestones outside, only to find that nothing is there at all. There is one story though that is famous above all others. Legend says that many years ago a guest left his half-finished drink on the bar and wandered out into the night, never to be seen again. His body was discovered on the moors. In the years since then, many landlords and guests have said the man's ghost will wander into the bars some nights to try and finish his drink. Of course, he is always too late and will then vanish into thin air not long after walking in. He seems to not want to cause any harm to the living, but locals say the sight itself is enough to terrify anyone. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Just once again, I want to say thank you to the Dive Bar Shirt Club for making this video possible. Remember to check them out if you want to pick yourself up some cool Dive Bar t-shirts. You can visit their website at thedivebarshirtclub.com or find the link in the description box below. However you get there, you can look through all the great designs, including the ones we talked about earlier, to make sure you try before you buy. If you find one you like, make sure you let me know in the comment section below. Once again, thank you to the Dive Bar Shirt Club. Thank you to you guys for watching. My name is Danny Burke, and I will see you all in the next video.